Welcome to my next Lost. Season 1 episode review video. Before I get into that though, pretty important, if you aren't caught up to the point where I am at Rewatch here watching Lost, or you're just not entirely sure, then you definitely need to take the initiative and pay attention to the episode's title, which of course I'll mention as well as put in the description. If that happens to be the case, you find that you're not caught up, it would be my recommendation that you don't watch this video any further to avoid any potential spoilers. And for all of you out there that are wondering, I have seen Lost 3 times. I wanted to watch it again to let it resonate. I wanted to take my time with it. So I'm watching 1 to 3 episodes per week on any given week, and it's really resonating with me. But I'm not the only one that's watching Lost right now. The legendary Crazy Coffee Man, who gives the best detailed plot summaries that is on YouTube, is actually watching Lost for the first time. So please, join us on the journey and let's discuss the show in the comment section. No spoilers for episodes past the episode that you're watching. With all that said, this will be Lost Season 1, Episode 17. The title of this episode is called In Translation. And this will be my review, reaction, recap after just finishing watching the episode. So we start with Jin, and he's thinking about previous memories. We go to a flashback with Jin. Sun is in some of these flashbacks, but it's the majority of the episode is Jin. And he's having a conversation with Sun's father. Sun's father says, "You want to marry my daughter?" And I think his name is Mr. Pak, but I could be wrong on that. He asks Jin about his father, and Jin says he's dead. And then Jin tells Sun's dad that his dream, or Sun is his dream. Then we go back to current time. Sun is about to go for a swim, and Jin immediately runs over to cover her up. Why? I mean, Sun is looking fabulous in this episode. Everyone sees this. Claire asks Charlie if you think we should do something. Michael gets in Jin's face. Sun slaps Michael as kind of a cover. Jin looks at the Rolex while Sun has put more clothes on. Then we go back to the flashback. Jin wants a moment with his soon-to-be wife. Sun says she wishes his father, Jin's, was here to see this. And then I make another side note that Sun is looking absolutely beautiful, as she usually does, but looking extra beautiful in this episode thus far. And then Sun kisses Jin. Then we go back to present time. Sun says sorry to Michael. Michael's working on this raft that he's going to use to get away from the island. Sun tells him she was protecting him from Jin, as you don't know what he's capable of. And Michael says, "It's not my problem, it's yours." Hurley goes to speak with Jin. He tells Jin to relax and says, "Come on, dude, I'm trying here." Saeed says Shannon knows how to tie a perfect knot. And she says, "Well, because I've dated guys with sailboats." Shannon wants to spend a Saturday night alone with Saeed. Interesting. Michael talks to Walt about New York. Jack notices that Michael's making a lot of progress. Sawyer took the other spot on the raft, unfortunately, so sorry, we might be losing Sawyer pretty soon. Kate talks to Sun about her being afraid of telling her husband she speaks English. Kate asks what changed him, and we see that this conversation kind of gets interrupted by the fact that Michael's raft is on fire, and then Michael yells, "No!" He'll yell something else at some point in this series as well. Michael asks Sun where is he, looking for Jin, of course, and Jack says, "We don't know that Jin did this." And then Sun sees Jin, and he's hurt. His hands are like all beat up. And she tells Jin that Michael made the raft trying to get us out of here. And Sun's father has promoted, this is back to the flashback, Sun's father has promoted Jin. He'll now be his new special assistant. Jin goes to visit some guy that Sun's father's upset with. He's there to deliver a message, but usually the messages that get delivered involve a lot of physicality. The man says, not in front of his daughter, and she's watching TV, and we see Hurley is on the television. If you blink, you might miss it, but it's an Easter egg. Hurley is on the television of what this younger girl is looking at. And he says Mr. Pak, I think that's his name, I'm not 100% sure or how you pronounce it, is displeased with you. And then the man gives Jin a dog that was his daughter's, or it was their dog, but probably her daughter's. So Jin doesn't hurt him, he just talks to him, and he's like shocked because he thought he was going to get a ass whooping essentially. Sayid goes to catch up with Boone. He wants to talk to him about Shannon. He says it's very possible him and his sister will become more than just friends. Boone says when Shannon, gets what she wants, she'll move on, and tells him not to take it personally. You messed up my ride, Chief, as Sawyer kicks Jin in the face. Sayid says perhaps you should find another another point where I say perhaps you should find another find is what I put. I'm not exactly sure what I meant by that. But she asks if you've been talking to my brother, to Shannon. Haven't you? And Shannon leaves to find Boone. She finds Locke while he's eating dinner. He hasn't seen Boone. And he's eating like a dead animal. I thought it was a frog at first, but I don't think it's a frog. It could be anything. And she tells Locke to tell Boone to stay out of her business. He tells Shannon everyone there gets a new life on this island. Jin is currently Sawyer's prisoner, essentially. And Sun's made Jin dinner in the flashback. And Jin's phone goes off. No work tonight, Jin says. And then the landline phone starts to ring. I still have one of those. I do, right here. Landline phone. It works. Anyway, Sun's dad wants to know why his factory is closed. So Jin has to go to that man's house again. And this time he's with like a henchman of Sun's dad who is putting a silencer on a gun. So this guy means business. So this other guy, I don't remember their names, is in trouble. So Jin tells him the factory opens tomorrow and beats him up a little bit, punches him a bunch of times. I just saved your life, as he was traveling with the man with the silencer on his gun. The man with the silencer just kind of standing there like, okay. And then the man's daughter cries as she looks at Jin. And then the henchman he tells him that he got the message, Jin says. Now we see Jin at home washing the blood off his hands that we previously had seen. Sun slaps Jin, what we previously seen, and he tells Sun, I do whatever your father tells me to do. Then we go back to the island. Sawyer brings Jin to the beach, and Michael comes running that way. Jack and Hurley try to stop what could potentially happen. Michael decks Jin a few times, and he's about to deck him again, and then Sun yells, "Stop it! Leave him alone!" Much to the surprise of many people on the island, he didn't burn your raft. And Jin is standing there very confused. So I think Jin knows English. He just doesn't speak it. And then Charlie's like, you speak English? And Hurley says, didn't see that coming. And then Jack says, you understood us all this time? Why didn't you say anything? And the boat was already on fire when he arrived, Sun says. He burnt his hands trying to put it out. And then Sun says, my husband is many things, but he's not a liar. And then Sawyer mumbles something and calls Sun Betty. Interesting. And Locke says, why burn the raft? Locke says, they've attacked us. They've attacked us. We're not the only people on this island, and we all know it. And then Sun says again, he did not do it. Michael's upset that he can't salvage a thing. Michael tells Walt he's sorry. Michael's going to build another raft, a better raft. And then Jin is leaving the caves. He tells Sun tells Jin she was going to leave him. But then you made me still think that you love me. Now, why does that scene at the airport, why does Jin all of a sudden impress Sun again? Does Jin, and I'm here because he stops when Sun says something. Does he know English as well? I think he does. And Sun says, can we just start over? And then we go back to a Jin flashback, and he goes to see his father. So his father is alive, and he tells him he's sorry. I was ashamed of myself, ashamed of you. So he's alive and well, and then Jin says he wishes he could start over. And then Jin tells his dad that he was to deliver watches to Sun's father's associates in Sydney and Los Angeles. And Jin's dad tells him that he should do that and that be it, and then save his marriage. And then Jin tells Sun it's too late. Then we see Shannon kissing Saeed. She mentioned something to him, but I couldn't quite hear it, and I didn't feel like putting closed captioning on. And then, what was that for, Saeed says. And then Walt goes to see Michael. He asks Locke if his dad is cool, like, Locke's dad. And Locke says, no, he's not. And then Locke asks Walt why he burned the raft. Don't worry, I'm not going to tell. And then Walt's like, he doesn't want to move anymore. He likes it here on the island, as John Locke also likes it on the island. So, Walt burnt the raft. How did Locke know that? Interesting. Anyway, Jin comes over to Michael and says, boat. And then Jin's going to help rebuild another raft. He brings some, branches. And then Sun is in her swimsuit again, all alone, and she's, going in the ocean. As Hurley is listening to his portable CD player, the batteries die. Son of a bitch! And that's what ends this episode of Lost. So, pretty interesting episode. I don't really like Sun and Jin initially on the show, but this was a good episode, especially regarding Jin. So you know what I'm going to do here. Well, I'm going to give the episode an 8.7 out of 10. My characters of the episode, obviously, Jin, Sun, and other character that really impressed me was John Locke. Even though he doesn't get enough time in this episode, he has the point where we're not the only ones on this island here. And then the part where he's like, you burned the raft, didn't you? Or, he knew that Walt did it. There wasn't a shadow of a doubt in John Locke's mind. So, again, pretty good episode. You've heard everything that I have to say. Now it's your turn. If you're a fan of Lost and you want to help me out with the YouTube algorithm, please consider Hulk smashing the like button. Otherwise, I'll send Hurley after you, and you know what happens. Hurley's hungry. He's going to eat you. Well, that was kind of rude, but it is the case. Share the video with a friend. Put this video on any one of your social media platforms. Don't forget to sound off in the comment section and talk to me and the legendary Crazy Coffee Man about this episode of Lost. What would you score it? Who would be your character or characters of the episode? Secondary character that's not the main character, however you want to do it. Remember, no spoilers past this episode. And then last but certainly not least, don't forget to hit that sub button, subscribe to the channel, you're watching the video anyway, join the team, show your damn support, and be a part of something special, and you never know what you're going to see on JDev TV.